Welcome back, guys, to WCS America Challenger League and to game number 2 between Huck and Bale. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of Altrazim's Stronghold, the Red Protoss player trailing 0-1 in the series. His name is Huck. And, of course, Huck's opponent in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, leading 1-0. And still,
Hercules,
with this ridiculous thing spinning by his Nexus, it's Bale's. I demand an explanation for this.
like how can you set that?
This isn't even a StarCraft thing.
Is that like a clan setting? Because I know with
Maybe.
2.1 a lot of new things are possible.
Oh, it must be the Deimos clan logo.
Yeah.
That has to be what it is.
So maybe if like Bills wasn't aware of what was actually going on next to his Nexus, maybe that's like part of being in a team that you can set as a team setting.
This is the most awesome thing that I have seen. I think we have another Deimos player playing later today, don't we?
Yeah, I think Coma.
Yeah, I think so too. So if he has a spinning Hercules next to his, or He-Man, or whatever the hell that is.
Either way, we got a lot of great StarCraft, Ben, and I'm happy to already jumping into game number 2. We see that Bills is scouting in the wrong direction, which might not seem like a big deal, but on this huge map, that can be pretty frustrating because by the time that your probe arrives now at that base, most likely the Stalker will be ready to chop away or to shoot away at it, or at least a Zealot or a Mothership Core. So you're gonna have a pretty hard time figuring out what's going on. Well, if you scout immediately, then sometimes you're able to keep your probe around for a little bit and see at least if the fact he's going for a 2-gate opening or something crazy. So, but fortunately for him, Huck is also scouting cross map, which is wrong too.
Yep. Neither player going to get that initial early game scout, and it's going to be okay for both of them as we see very standard looking openings for each.
Because this is such a huge map, and a very popular build is just a DT into expand, especially because it's so easy to defend your second base. And sometimes you might see a quick Stargate as well, as oracles are pretty damn good on this map. There's quite a bit of space where you can fly around, and they're fast. They make their way across the map pretty quickly, especially good against greedy builds where there are very few units out on the map.
Yep. Both players going to finish up their cyber cores around the same time, but it's going to be a while still before we see either player commit to any sort of tech. Looks like no Zealot going to be made here for Huck, which could be a little bit telling.
Yeah, but then it still will be like 3 Stalker pressure, but Huck's actually going to drop a ridiculously quick expand here. Now if there's one map to do it, it's definitely this one. It's a little harder to scout, but I'm not sure if that Mothership Core is going to be able to shoot him. Okay, the probe is actually backing off for Bills. So what is Bills going to do, Ben?
We don't know just yet. What Kev was starting to get on about, guys, is one of the unique characteristics of this map is that this third expansion, or natural expansion, whatever you want to call it, is tucked away in the back of the main base. There's no actual ground path to attack this part of the map, so it's completely hidden. It's going to be very difficult to scout. Bales is going to march a Zealot forward, but Huck's probably just going to force field that out.
He doesn't want to use force field because in case he has to worry about 3-gate pressure, he can't really force field it right now. Huck sent his Mothership Core out then, and without his Mothership Core, this actually could be kind of tricky. He's going to have to micro a little bit, he's going to lose some mining time. The Mothership Core from Bills is coming over here as well. Is Huck going to lose a Zealot? Or Probe, I want to say. Nope. Great micro there by Huck. Still has a top 3 control. But here comes the Mothership Core.
Now the Mothership Core a little bit late to the party. He's going to float right through. At this point, Bales has probably got an idea of what he's playing against. Yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. The good news for Bales is that in spite of the fact that this recall is going to be forced,
that's so close.
He doesn't lose a whole lot. It's not like Huck can get very aggressive off of that 1-gate expand. His warp gate's only now finishing. Bales has got his Stargate out already. Ooh, yeah. Stargate against 1-gate expand.
No, he's gonna expand behind this, and these Phoenixes, they represent a lot of kills regardless. Especially because Huck is gonna drop the Robo right now. Yes, Huck is in an economic lead, but I think that these Phoenixes will be able to even things up, if not even create a lead for him. I like that he's not going with an Oracle, because an Oracle is a bigger investment, and against a quick Mothership Core, which is just going to cast Photon Overcharge, you're not going to get a whole lot done with your Oracle. So I really like that he's opening up with Phoenixes, and even when Huck knows it, he's still going to lose a bunch of probes. That's inevitable. Yep. There's nothing you can do about it.
Huck's hallucinated Phoenix did just float right past. I think he had a Robo building, immediately cancels it.
Now I'm not sure about that move, Ben, because the moment that you do that, you're basically saying like, okay, now I'm really worried about defending against these Phoenixes. He's still going to lose quite a few probes before Blink is ready. And is he then going to try to counter and win? Bills is probably going to drop a pretty quick Robo behind all these Phoenixes as well. I'm not sure how I feel about that Twilight.
Well, we're going to see. So far, Huck hasn't taken too much damage, just losing some life on his mothership core, and then, of course, a single probe getting lifted up and killed there. Third Phoenix is now in the mix, as Bales has stopped his Phoenix production. He's already planted his Robo.
Yeah, because he's worried about the counter aggression, so he knows that he's going to need quick Immortals, and I really like how he's doing that. And you know, if Huck is indeed not going to play this very economic and he's going to try to counter and straight up win, if it doesn't work, and if there are 2-3 Immortals waiting for him there, Huck could be looking at a very, very dicey position.
Yeah, you know, I completely agree with you, Kev. If Huck's going to try to all in off of 2 bases with just Blink Stalkers, Bales, by the time that comes, is going to have 2, maybe 3 Immortals out.
Of course, now he doesn't have to necessarily like all in or semi all in of this build, but let's not forget that also he's going to be very blind for a very long time right now. He has no idea unless he keeps using hallucinated. Did he lose that sentry as well? Where are your sentries, Huck? Okay, he's keeping it in the mineral line. So the only vision he's going to get is from hallucination, but still, he's still going to lose a few probes here and there because Phoenixes just don't die very quick unless the stalker count is very high. So far, he has lost 4 probes throughout the entire game. I really don't think that it was necessary for him to cancel the Robo and prioritize Blink that quickly. Like, if you want to play a long game, then just keep a bunch of stalkers in your mineral line and then use observers and then maybe go up to 3 bases when you feel it's safe.
One more probe getting lifted and killed there. Blink probably going to finish up here around the time of the next Phoenix flyby. So if Bales isn't careful, he could find himself losing some Phoenixes if he gets a little bit too greedy. Huck's already putting pylons down out on the map, so he may in fact be thinking about some kind of 2-base play. He's got his forge building though, and that usually means he wants to do something with that forge.
Or he just wants to get like 2 cannons in his mineral line. Think that is protection. Now he's gonna drop the Robo as well. So eventually, Huck just wants to take this in a normal, to a normal game, and he just didn't want to lose too many probes. He still lost a few. Of course, it could have been worse, but you know now he has Blink. I'm not sure if that was the right play, but then again, who am I to question Huck? Different way of going at it. I remember having this talk with Grubby once a long time ago at a Homestead Cup, and then Grubby also said like, I don't think that you should go Twilight immediately when you see you're playing against Phoenix, because by the time that you're completely stabilized, you're kind of like sitting there with this useless Blink tag that's been quite an investment.
Oh no, Blink used on the low ground, and now those Stalkers can't get back in, and Bales this time is going to do quite a bit of damage. He lifts up several probes. Photon Overcharge is going to get used over here inside of this expansion, but Bales still able to lift up about 6 more probes. 10 worker kills total creates a 4-worker advantage for Bales. Huck is still out on the map with these Stalkers, but it looks like he just wants to take a 3rd base.
Yeah, and I agree with that move, because I guess with hallucination he also saw the timing of the robotics facility. Might pick up a Phoenix here, but nope, so far he's just not doing that yet. Great control so far with these Phoenixes from Bales. Now I don't think that's like very hard a Protoss play from the level of Bales or Huck will always be able to do that, but it's good to see that he's not very nervous and ended up losing a bunch of Phoenixes for no reason, because you shouldn't lose Phoenixes before Blink is ready, and even after Blink is ready you might lose like 1 or 2 to a Blink once, but you know, there's no need to play very risky with them, because these Phoenixes eventually they will be their money's worth. You have great scouts and you will always be able to get a few probes here and there, because there is never a moment where the Protoss is absolutely secure everywhere.
I'm a big fan of the way Bales has played this, Kevin. He's managed to get his 3rd base down a little bit faster on the back of these Phoenixes. He's done a lot of good harassment. He's going to fly through once more and pick up a couple more probes and just continue whittling away at the worker lines of Huck. Right now it's 57 probes for Bales against 48 probes for Huck, so excellent play from this young Protoss player. As that 3rd base is just going to go ahead and finish up here, and he's already getting his Archons. He's already got 4 Immortals out on the map.
Huck getting a little unlucky there on the right side of the map. He was like on an adventure with these Stalkers, trying to find those idle Phoenixes, and they were just barely out of vision. But yes, Ben, as exactly what you said. Bales has a 10-worker lead throughout the entire game. He has killed 15 probes. Like I said in the start of the game, it's inevitable that Phoenixes will get those kills. It's not because Huck is playing bad or poorly. There's almost nothing you can do about it when you're facing that build order. The only thing you could do is drop a few cannons immediately, but even then, the moment you move out, a couple of Phoenixes will fly in, try to pick up a probe here and there. Phoenixes are just solid. The only thing that Huck could do is just chrono boost out a lot of probes and try to get it to a further stage in the game where losing a few probes doesn't matter too much anymore.
Kev, I love how thorough Bales has been here, sending out this Phoenix, our hallucinated Phoenix, going around the left side of the map, and in doing so he spots a single pylon that Huck has planted. not a huge deal, but he's just checking for things. He's making sure that he doesn't get surprised by anything. He now knows that pylon is there and can go do something about it.
Hawk knows about the Phoenixes over here. He's going to try to blink below. I like how Hawk doesn't shoot at him immediately. He's going to park them below these Phoenixes, and now he will pick off 2 of them, and that at least gives Hawk an easier time in the future. Oh, good feedback
from left field. That was very well done, and Huck cleans it all up.
But I mean, it's still, these Phoenixes have paid for themselves. Bills is sitting on an economic lead. He also has a small upgrade advantage. +2 will be ready in 60 seconds for Hawk. And let's not forget, Bill's army is simply stronger, Ben. Blink Stalkers are not that strong anymore in this phase in the game. They're running into a bunch of Immortals over here as well. Hawk not paying attention, losing one of them.
Yeah, loses a Stalker immediately and has to back off.
I mean, Hawk can defend this, Ben, but he's going to need a good time warp and a photon overcharge. He has a few Zealots and Immortals and Archons on his own as well, but army supply is relatively even.
Yeah, he's got enough units.
Oh, maybe he can get the Mothership Core. That would be big. That would be really big. Hawk is gonna
yes,
get it.
He does. And that early damage that the Mothership Core took, proving to be a little bit detrimental here in the end. That time warp though might have bought Bales the time he needs to catch up to these Stalkers, and he will pick off one Stalker and that Observer.
Upgrades are even right now. I actually think this could be a good fight for Hawk, because he has a small army supply lead, so these useless Blink Stalkers won't matter too much. There is an Immortal advantage for Bills, but Photon Overcharge and Time Warp, even though that's a lot of Zealots for Bills.
Man, that's a great concave for Bales too. Finally, Huck's starting to push it back. The Zealots are in the wrong place. Those Immortals completely exposed. Now a couple of Archons are going to come forward and try to support supply-wise. It's very close. Huck, even with a small lead, forward blink. He is not going to get that Warp Prism, but Bales has no choice. He's got to run. Maybe he should leave an Archon behind.
Bill should start wiping in some units. He has a crazy amount of money, almost at 2,000 minerals. He starts shooting at these stocks a little bit. He's going to pick up 2 of those Immortals, and Huck has defended, but it's a little deceiving is the word I'm looking for, because Bills has a lot of money. Even if he loses another Immortal in the process, Huck is not that far ahead that he can just counterattack and win.
Good defense there by Huck. I don't even mind the attack there from Bales, Kevin, as we look at the state of things now. Huck finds himself with a 20 army supply lead. Bales has got a ton of cash. He could close that gap with just Zealots if he wanted to. But instead, it looks like he's thinking about perhaps some Warp Prism harass with these 2 Mortals. I'm not sure what I think about that.
It can be good. Is there still a Mothership Core? I think he picked it up, so that means no Photon Overcharge. There are still a few Blink Stalkers, though, not too many. Meanwhile, there's a Lonely Immortal going on an adventure.
Bales got it. And that Immortal.
This is risky. Huck also got his Robo Bay down a little quicker and his second robotics facility. So this is overall pretty good news for Hawk. This time he's going to get a Colossus lead in a game where Colossus are going to be very important. He's still down a few workers, and the 4th base is a little quicker. So Bills needs to buy time for himself. That's just really important.
Picks off a single pylon. Zealots are warped in though, so Bales is going to want to pick him up. Bales is going to want to pick him up. Loses an Immortal very carelessly there.
Yeah. I think this game suddenly he's starting to look perhaps a little nervous. Getting like, oh my, I'm almost 2-0 up against Hawk. In perhaps the most important best of 5 that I've played in my career, because he's starting to make a few unnecessary mistakes, a few unforced errors. He's going to lose at actually,
no,
not yet.
This hallucinated Phoenix.
This Warp Prism is sweating now, man. Man, I hope he doesn't turn on his real lasers. That would be bad.
I'm so glad that you're fake.
4th base is a little quicker for him, though.
This is like me trying to hit on a girl at the bar. Hey, hey, pay attention to me. Hey,
be persistent, man. That's what it's all about. Never give up. So take a look at the unit count right now. We have 5 Immortals for Bills against 4 Immortals for Hawk, 5 Archons against 4. Hawk does have a Colossus lead, but I'm afraid that if he wants to capitalize on that, by the time he walks across the map, then I think that there's going to be an even amount of Colossus for Bills. So it is hard. Upgrades are very even. +3 is about to finish up for both players. There are no armor or shield upgrades. Overall, very even game, where I still kind of like Bills' position a little bit, as long as he catches up in the...
He's got so much money. He's just loaded. I don't know if he's having trouble spending it, or if he just doesn't know what he wants to spend it on.
Yeah, and in this phase in the game, you don't want to like go too crazy and just like max out immediately. You rather leave some wiggle room, so for A, harassment potential, and B, you want to free up supply, because being maxed out on 40 Zealots is not ideal if you're facing 6 to 8 Colossus and a bunch of Archons.
Warp Prism returns to harass a little bit more this time. The Immortal will be babysat a little bit more effectively. Zealots warped in and killed out on the map. We do see that Bales has spotted this hit squad of Huck, which is a good pickup.
Yeah, there's like random Zealot fights around the map, and Bill's immediately realizing that he's gonna have to worry about that, and it could be annoying, so he's throwing down a bunch of cannons at his fort, and even creating a nice little sim city. He's gonna have to do it real quick though. He's gonna need to use his main army for this.
His army's there. He's not far out of position, and is able to repel this attack. Huck's main army is back at home, so there's no threat of multi-pronged aggression.
Alright, Ben, so what I'm really curious about right now is like, Bills, are you gonna bring this into a Tempest phase in the game? Some players are just not that comfortable with Tempest. I would say that I'm one of them. I prefer to keep it simple, plain and simple as well, with Immortals, Archons and Colossus. Because then at least you know what you have to worry about, how you want to position your army, and we all at least split our army a couple of times in that late phase in the game. But this was actually a perfect scenario for Bills to throw down a fleet beacon and start getting out 2 or 3 Tempests. Just having 4 Tempests just represents so much damage in a PvP fight like this. And Huck doesn't have a Stargate yet, so it's unlikely that Huck is ever going to get Tempest as well. I think Bill should have dropped the fleet beacon, but that's just me.
This one Zealot of Huck has 4 kills. I don't know if they're all probes that we're trying to expand or not. But I've seen Bales at least on one occasion trying to put a Nexus up there, so that's a little bit annoying. Huck's also going to send some Blink Stalkers forward to try and do a little bit of harassment. Oh, and the Zealots finding an opening are going to manage to crash through one of these cannons.
Big Dark
at the
Templar
same time, wow, Huck is in 3 places at once. This is great aggression from the EG Protoss. Bale's forced to pull his probes off the line to try and defend this.
Well, more warp in over here from Huck. Bills is going to have to send a little more to this. He's also going to reposition his warp prism because it was under fire. Actually, Bills had DTs as well.
Yeah,
and Huck
solid defense. Warped in those defensive DTs and chased Huck away. At the same time, Bales is using this single Immortal to pick off pylons. Uh-oh, but it's been forgotten. And that's going to be another sacrificial Immortal. So too will fall the Warp Prism. Not quite.
And this is the most important thing, I think, right now that Bills could potentially do for himself. He's dropping the fleet beacon ban, and I wouldn't mind seeing a second Stargate either. For my part, you even throw in an air upgrade because you have the money for it right now anyways. Just buy time, and if you're going to be the one that has a bunch of Tempests in his army and your opponent does not, I really think that this could end up very, very well for Bills.
Upgrade-wise, it's +3 attack, +1 armor for Bales. So Warp Prism Harass continuing to be annoying. +3 attack, +1 shields for Huck. So that's the lone variation, shields versus armor upgrades. What separate these two armies?
Armor upgrades are great, of course, for the Archons because they basically only exist of shield, or shield upgrades, I should say. Still, Ben, all that Bills needs to do, in my opinion, look at that bank, is just buy some time for himself. Don't be afraid to throw away a few units here and there as well. As you can see, this might all look a little inefficient, but it's not, because it's keeping Huck on this side of the map. Huck is also just like kind of worried about counterattacks right now, so he doesn't want to leave his base too soon. And the only thing that Bills need, Ben, is just to get a couple of Tempest out. I would have loved to see a second Stargate though.
Oh, he's going to make a mothership.
What? He's not going to make Tempest? I mean, getting a mothership is not bad, of course, because it represents so much HP that in a PvP fight like that, it could be great. Also, you cloak your entire army, could always represent, you know, some, be able to save some units, and above all.
This is just super annoying. Undetectable Dark Templar here in the main base is going to try to take out the Dark Shrine of Huck. Meanwhile, Huck just floating around with Phoenixes. Dark Shrine shouldn't die. It really should not die. Where's the Observer, Huck?
He has an Observer with his army, and actually it only has a single Observer on the map right now.
Where's that Observer?
It's above the Colossus.
It's not going to get there in time. Single DT takes out the Dark Shrine of Huck, and Bales continues to win important fights around the map. This is a very small one, but the inability to make DTs could prove to be important here.
Bill's even going to sacrifice a few probes in this phase of the game, as he's like, 74 probes, that's more than enough.
He's got a massive force. He's got 9 Colossi, 9 Archons.
Against 11 Archons and 6 Colossus, 4 Immortals. Basically everything is better for Huck right now, because Bills is buying time for himself. Bills just kind of maxed out, but I'm not sure on what. What does Bills have more other than that Mothership Core? He has more Archons, but that's the only thing. He's down a few Colossus, down Immortals. I'm
He's
not
also
sure
got a
Huck
couple
could
of
win
High
this.
Templar. Yeah, this could be a decisive fight here. The Colossi are going to be instrumental, and as you've been saying all along, Kev, Bales doesn't have a single Stargate unit, nothing that can checkmate the Colossi.
You know what's really important, man? There's only a single observer in this army of Huck. There are 3-4 observers in that army of Bills. Bills is relying on the fact, man, that he's going to kill that observer. That's why he has a few observers in his own army. Huck is seeing this big as mothership right now, and I wonder if that worries him a little bit. I think it does. Huck is going to drop a Stargate on his own right now.
And also getting...
I think he's aware of the fact, man, that he only had a single observer. At least with his army.
Yeah. Both players sit on massive banks. Huck's on 3K, 3K. He could transition into anything in the world that he wanted right now. Bales doesn't have as much gas, but has a very healthy economy as well. More than 4,000 minerals and about 1,000 gas in the bank.
Dark Templars being annoying in the main base of Huck once more.
There's a couple of Colossi here, but they are covered by the cannons. So Bales just being frustrating, doing annoying things around the map.
Huck has a crazy amount of gas as well. Huck is going to drop a single Stargate by himself. I already mentioned it before. And I guess he's just going to get a big mothership as well.
This is one of those times when I feel like Huck should probably get observer speed.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Observers detection is going to be extremely important with a lot of DTs being on both sides of the map and a big mothership.
Look at what those two Dark Templar did. They pulled the entire army out of position, allowing Bales to push very far forward on the map. Catches the Warp Prism, which is a nice pickup.
Yeah, not before Huck dropped the High Templar though and got a feedback off on that mothership. So that is definitely something that's nice. Huck producing 2 observers at the same time right now. As he probably realized that, like, hey, I'm gonna need that. This is going to be important. Man, this is going to be crazy. And I'm so surprised, man, that neither player is deciding to get a few Tempests. Because I really feel that, you know, that would have been a good move. But Huck is going to get a fleet beacon on his own right now. And he's also researching +1 air and dropping 2 more Stargates.
Extra Stargates. So Huck is definitely going to be making Tempests. Unless he decides to make carriers, which is probably not very likely.
A few Void Rays wouldn't be too bad either, but Tempests are definitely
this feels like a questionable fight to me. Bales is going to come forward. He'll pick off the Nexus, but he's going to be trapped. There's no energy for a recall. So his army doesn't even kill the Nexus? Come on, Bales. He sees that the army of Huck has come forward. This is a great position for Huck. Bales, I don't think you want to take this fight. And Huck with the Colossus advantage with a beautiful concave is going to shred the army of Bales. Bales' supply plummets, and Huck is going to stay maxed out, crushing through Bales and all that Bales has. So a base for an army is what Bales chose to trade, and Huck is gladly going to accept that contribution as he cleans it up and is going to start marching across the map. Bales is frantically trying to reinforce, but I just don't see it happening,
no,
Kev.
You can't rebuild a Protoss army like that quick. I'm kind of flabbergasted, man. I'm just lost for words about what we saw there. Bill's getting himself in a position where he can't leave from. Huck having the absolute perfect dream engagement though. The way that he spread out his entire army was just beautiful. That fight couldn't have been more one-sided. That couldn't have gone any better for Huck. And in a game where I really felt Bills was in control for the majority of the time, Huck just took an overwhelming victory, and in PvP you can't come back from losing 100 supply like that.
Yeah, a couple of missed opportunities, a couple of unheated transitions there. Had Bales ever started to make those Stargate units, this could have been a different outcome, but as it stands, Huck played very well, kept himself in the game, and bounces back to take game number 2 very decisively. GG is called as Huck evens up the series at 1 each.
I'm still kind of speechless about what we just saw there. I've seen a lot of one-sided fights in PvP, but never like this.